When most homeowners think about a roof, they think about shingles. That's the visible layer, the color, the style, the thing that you see from the street. But the reality is, shingles are only one part of what protects your home. A roof is a system, and like any system, it only performs as well as its weakest component. If you understand how each part works, how they connect, and where failures typically start, you can make better decisions, avoid costly mistakes, and ultimately get a roof that actually lasts. This guide breaks down the 5 most important components and concepts homeowners need to understand the roofing system itself. Number 1, the roofing system, why it's never about shingles. Let's start with the big picture. A roofing system is made up of multiple layers, each with a specific job. When installed correctly, these layers work together to protect your home from wind, rain, heat, and moisture. Here are the core components. Shingles, the outer layer that sheds water and protects against UV exposure. Underlayment, a secondary water barrier beneath the shingles. Starter shingles, installed at the edges to prevent wind uplift. Ridge caps, protect the peak and allow proper sealing. Ventilation system, regulates heat and moisture in the attic. When people choose a roof based only on the shingle, they're only evaluating one piece of the system. That's like buying a car based only on the paint color. For example, you can install a high-quality architectural shingle like GAF HDZ, but if the underlayment is cheap or installed incorrectly, the ventilation is unbalanced, the starter shingles are missing or wrong, the roof will not perform the way it was designed to. This is one of the biggest misconceptions in roofing. The material matters, but the systems and the installation matter more. Number 2, starter shingles, the most important piece you'll never see. Starter shingles are one of the most overlooked components of a roof and one of the most critical. They are installed along the eaves, the bottom edges of a roof, the rakes, the angled edges, and their job is simple but essential. They create the first seal against wind uplift. Here's why that matters. If wind can get underneath the first row of shingles, it can start lifting them. Once that happens, it's not isolated. It becomes a chain reaction. One shingle lifts, wind gets further underneath, adjacent shingles begin to loosen, sections of the roof can peel back over time. Starter shingles are designed with adhesive strips placed in the correct position to lock down that first row and prevent wind from getting underneath. Without proper starter shingles, your wind resistance is significantly reduced. Even high-end shingles can fail prematurely. Repairs often start at the edges. This is a small detail that has a major impact, especially in high wind areas like Florida. Number 3, why roof edges are the most vulnerable areas. If you look at storm damage, after strong winds, you'll notice a pattern. Most failures don't start in the middle of the roof. They start at the edges. This isn't random. This is physics. Wind creates different pressure zones across your roof. The edges and corners experience the highest uplift forces. These are the stress points. That means your roof is only as strong as how well those edges are built. Several components come into play here. Starter shingles, proper nail placement, drip edge installation, adhesive bonding between shingles. If any of these are compromised, wind can get underneath the roofing system. Once wind gets under the shingles, it no longer has to fight gravity. It uses pressure to lift and separate materials. That's how small issues turn into major failures. A properly installed roofing system reinforces these edge zones to prevent that initial lift. That's one of the biggest differences between a roof that survives a storm and one that doesn't. Number 4, underlayment, your backup protection layer. Shingles are your first line of defense, but they are not waterproof on their own. That's where underlayment comes in. Underlayment is installed directly on top of the roof decking. Underneath the shingles, its job is to act as a secondary barrier against water intrusion. Here's a real-world example. During heavy wind-driven rain, water can be forced underneath the shingle. Small gaps or overlaps may allow moisture through. If there were no underlayment, that water would go straight through into the wood decking, and from there into your home. Underlayment helps prevent that. There are different types, but modern roofing systems typically use a peel and stick underlayment, which offers several advantages. Higher tear resistance, better durability during installation, improved performance in extreme weather, in vulnerable areas like valleys, penetrations, and low slope sections. Additional waterproofing layers may be installed for extra protection. Most homeowners never see underlayment, but it plays a major role, preventing leaks, protecting structural components, and extending the life of the roof. It's one of the most important, invisible parts of your roof. Number 5, heat and ventilation, the silent roof killer. While wind gets the most attention, heat is often a bigger long-term problem, especially in warmer climates. Without proper ventilation, attic temperatures can rise significantly above the outdoor temperature. This creates a cycle that slowly damages your roof from the inside out. Here's what happens. Heat builds up in the attic. Shingles are baked from the underneath material. Materials expand and contract more aggressively. Shingles lose flexibility over time. Granule loss and aging accelerates. At the same time, moisture from inside the home can get trapped in the attic, leading to mold growth, insulation damage, and wood rot. A proper ventilation system solves this by creating airflow. It works through balanced intake, usually at the soffits, brings in a cooler air exhaust vents like ridge vent to allow hot air to escape. Even the best shingles on the market will not perform properly without ventilation. That's why proper ventilation is not considered an upgrade. It's a requirement for a properly functioning roofing system.